Hello students, welcome to English Tutorials by Poonam Thakur, Class 12th Flamingo, Chapter number 2, Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood by Anise Jung. Lost Spring is an extract from Anise Jung's book, Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. In this excerpt, Anise expresses her concern over the exploitation of children in hazardous jobs like bangle making and rag picking. There's a dire need to provide these poverty-stricken children a life of dignity and opportunities to dare and to dream.
About the author, Anish Jung was born in Rourkela in 1964 and spent her childhood and adolescence in Hyderabad. She is an Indian author, journalist, and columnist for newspapers in India and abroad, and has authored several books. Anish Jung's Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood, focuses on children from deprived backgrounds being forced to live a life of poverty and exploitation. She analyzes the grinding poverty and traditions which condemn these children to a life of exploitation. Author emphasizes the urgent need to end the vicious circle of exploitation through education, empowerment, and by creating awareness. In their bleak stories of exploitation, the author finds glimpses of resilience and courage. Theme: Lost Spring deals with the miserable plight of street children forced into labor early in life and denied the opportunity of schooling. The author has taken the example of Sahib Alam, a rag picker, and Mukesh, a bangle maker. Both of them find themselves in a vicious circle of social stigma, poverty, and exploitation. Another theme that runs parallel to the major theme is the insensitivity of society and the political class to these people's misery. There is an utter lack of compassion, empathy, and commitment for the uplift of these children. Title: The Lost Spring. As a title, Lost Spring has a tinge of irony. Spring is the best season of a year, full of color, fragrance, and freshness. It is also a season of growth. The childhood of a human life is often linked to a spring, as it marks the beginning of human life and has a tremendous scope for growth. It is full of pleasure, joy. Children anywhere in the world are a source of great joy. But ironically, millions of children like Sahib and Mukesh experience no spring in their lives, for their childhood is consumed in making a living. Education, play, and pleasure are not for them to enjoy. They must work to support themselves and their families. Thus, the title brings out the depravity of child labor in a very telling way. Let's look at the main points of the story now. Author meets rag picker Sahib Alam, who lives in Simapuri on the outskirts, belonging to a refugee family from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Questions him about his vocation and advises him to go to school. Anis raises Sahib's hope of receiving education by promising to open a school in his neighborhood. Later feels embarrassed at making a hollow promise that she can't keep. Irony in the name of the Sahib, Sahib Alam, meaning Lord of the Universe, but he spends time roaming and scrounging streets with other ragpicker boys. The children do not go to school and they are excited at the prospect of finding a coin or even a 10 rupee note for rummaging in the garbage. The children do not wear chappals or shoes, reflecting extreme state of poverty. Author is reminded of a priest barefoot son in town of Udupi 30 years ago. 30 years later, only a degree of prosperity is visible, as present-day priest's son now wears shoes, but rag pickers still shoeless. Bangladesh refugees have been living in Simapuri since 1971 without permits but with only ration cards. They're happy to live in an alien land which provides food grains than in their motherland without grain. Rag picking has gradually acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. Picking garbage and rags earns them their daily bread, roof over their heads, livelihood, and a means of survival. On her next encounter, the author comes across Sahib as an employee in a tea stall. doing hard work and earns rupees 800 per month. Now the carefree look of Sahib has been replaced by worries and anxieties. He appears burdened and lost. Sahib is no more a free bird and a master of his own self. Let's compare Sahib Alam as a rag picker and worker in the tea stall. For Sahib, garbage dump was a symbol of freedom. He was master of his own life. Garbage was full of wonders. Sahib was his own master. As a tea stall worker, it symbolizes slavery. He was no longer his own master. Life was dull and boring. He was under the control of the tea stall owner, no longer his own master, and has lost his identity. Summary. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. The opening story talks about the author's impressions about the life of the unfortunate rag pickers. The rag pickers have migrated from Dhaka and found a settlement in Simapuri. Their fields and homes had been swept away by storms. They had come to the big city to find a living. The writer watches Sahib every morning scrounging for gold in her neighborhood. Garbage is a means of survival for the elders, and for the children it is something wrapped in wonder. The children come across a coin or two from it. These people have desires and ambitions, but they do not know the way to achieve them. There are quite a few things that are inaccessible to them, namely shoes, tennis, and other similar things. Later, Sahib joins a tea stall where he could earn 800 rupees in all the meals. But the new job has taken away his freedom. He has lost his carefree look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly. The bag was his. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his own master.
Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this session. Please like, share and subscribe to English Tutorials by Poonam Thakur, and don't forget to give your valuable comments.